The Blue Jackets dominated the Ducks but failed to get 2 points. What went wrong? Is it an easy fix? And what are they going to do to the Habs tonight? We're talking about all of that on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am one half of this podcast, Jay Foster. Scheduling issues means that Hayden couldn't make it today. He will be back with us tomorrow, I believe, as we break down tonight's game against the Canadiens. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Locked On Blue Jackets continues to be free and available on all podcast platforms. We are over on YouTube and we are on Sirius XM. So check us out in any of those places. Before we get started, I do also want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Let's talk about last night's game, because I was in the building for the first time in a while, so that was neat. I don't know that the game was as bad as it could have been. I said at the start, the Blue Jackets dominated, and they did. They had 60% of the shot attempts at all situations. I think they were at 55% even strength. They had a bajillion power plays, which is extremely frustrating that they didn't do anything on those power plays. They had, I think, 33 shot attempts on the power play and scored 1 goal. 15 shots on the power play, scored 1 goal. Just really frustrating. Again, I'm not super mad. I think for the most part, they played really well. I think Elvis had a good game. I know 3 goals on 24 shots in the end. I don't know. I can't find the shot attempts. But there they are. Yeah, three goals on 27 shots. Doesn't look great, but the first goal, complete defensive breakdown, not his fault. The second goal, I think I said out loud in the arena, oof, because it didn't look good. Found out after the game it came off of Werenski's stick and redirected. So again, I'm not too mad about that. And then he saved the first breakaway in overtime, and then they got a second breakaway. And Frank Vatrano, leading scorer for the Ducks, I think that's his 6th goal of the season now in, I think, 6 games. So what are you going to do? Elvis can only save so many. I still think he's been as good as he needs to be for large parts of the season. He allowed 2 goals against Philadelphia. Obviously, the Blue Jackets lost, but they scored 2 empty net goals. So, he only allowed 2 of those 4 goals on an actual goalie. Allowed 1 goal in 2 periods against the Rangers, and then wasn't great against Minnesota, but didn't need to be. Really, the Blue Jackets could outscore. I don't think that's sustainable, but I'm still not worried. And then last night, would I have liked him to be better? Yes, but I don't know that you can put any of the goals on him. I think all 3 of those goals are a direct result of poor defense in front. Eric Branson did what he could. Elvis made the first save, and then the rebound went in. It happens. Like I said, second goal went off Werenski's stick. Third goal, I believe it was Ivan Provorov that couldn't get back in time. Cole Sillinger also was not the most defensively sound, so not great in terms of defense. But I've liked how Elvis has been playing. I thought Elvis had as good a game as you can have when your defense are actively sabotaging you, like they were. And the penalty kill was fine. They didn't allow a goal. They only allowed 5 shots against on, I think, 4 power plays, which is pretty good. But like I said, the power play was where they really struggled. Yes, they scored a goal. That was great. I think they scored on their second power play of the night, second of 7, by the way. So that's just super, super annoying. Okay, on their third power play of the night, they scored. So what do we what are we doing here? That was the frustrating thing, was that they had so many opportunities. The Ducks penalty kill isn't great. And the Blue Jackets couldn't do anything with it. Like, it just seems like they don't know how to set up in the zone. And it's just really, really, it was really frustrating to watch. I know I said it was a good game. The vibes were good. I had a lot of fun at the game. At the end of the day, like, giving a point to a West Coast team is not the worst thing in the world. The Blue Jackets are still 500. They've got, I think, 7 out of a possible 14 points. They're 3-2-1. Like, I'm not mad about it. Would I have liked the win? Sure. Do I think they deserved the win? Yes. They outshot the Ducks by a pretty significant-ish margin. It was 37-27. The Ducks goalie had a really, really great game, I thought. That Adam Fantilli goal, I'm sure he'd like that back. I think it took him by surprise. And then the first goal was a one-timer from Emil Bemstrom. So, like, Lukas Dostal, fantastic game from him. He was the MVP of that game for me. It would have been nice if the Blue Jackets had been able to figure him out more than twice. But like I said, special teams need to be better, especially the power play, because it looks better than it did last season. But the amount of skill that's on this power play, like, they should basically be scoring at will. And at the minute, it seems like what happens is, if they don't win that first face-off, the puck gets cleared, and then they just can't enter the zone without, like, if you've got a dump and chase on the power play, like, something's gone wrong. I hate a dump and chase on the power play. I don't think it's effective. I don't think Goodrow and Johnson are going to be winning board battles necessarily, especially Kent Johnson, who we'll talk about in a minute, actually. I think Patrick Laine, that unit, that's fine. If you want to dump and chase. He's generally pretty good at retrieving pucks. I don't know that the Goodrow unit is getting much done. Or they do the stupid drop pass, which it's 2023. Why are we still doing drop passes on the power play? So the 5-on-5 play, I was fine with. The penalty kill, I was fine with. The power play needs to be much better. What are we paying Mark Recchi for? In a minute, we're going to talk a little bit about kind of some things that came out of the game. Specifically, there's a healthy scratch going on. Somebody is going to be coming into the game, and there's a couple of roster moves as well that I want to talk about. So we're going to do that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, though, I've got to tell you guys all about FanDuel. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers are going to get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Whether you win or lose, you're going to get those $200. So if you want to put money on, I don't know, I'm in Cincinnati right now, put money on the Bengals game. Whether they win or lose, you are going to get those $200 regardless. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app's easy to use. You get paid immediately. You don't have to wait around for your deposits. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and even more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season today. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL, and also us, the Locked On Podcast Network. Okay, let's talk about some things that came out of practice. We're going to talk about the Habs in a minute because they're playing the Habs tonight. There's been some lineup changes, so we'll get into that in a minute. But Igor Chinikov, healthy, finally. He has been activated off of IR and I believe sent to the Monsters immediately, which makes sense, I guess. I think even if it is just for a couple of weeks, like a faux conditioning stint, he's still waivers eligible. And I believe anyone that would come out of the lineup for him is not waivers eligible. So I think it makes sense. I'm fine with that. Good to see him. I think it doesn't help the logjam in Cleveland, which we talked about a little bit earlier this week, but good for Igor. We'll see him back up soon, I am sure. And Ken Johnson is going to be a healthy scratch in tonight's game, which on paper I think makes sense. He did not have a great game against the Ducks. He was on the ice for 5 shot attempts at 5-on-5. He was on the ice for 5 shot attempts, 4 and 10 against. Corsi for percentage of 33%. At all situations, he was actually on the ice for 21 attempts, for 11 against. But 16 of those came from the power play. So I get he has to be better at 5-on-5. I don't know what the answer is here. I don't really have a problem with how Ken Johnson has been playing. I am not the head coach. Obviously, Pascal Vincent knows more than me and is more keyed into what the team needs right now. I don't know that I would have taken Ken Johnson out of the lineup if I want to put Dmitri Voronkov in the lineup, because he's going to be making his NHL debut tonight, which is pretty exciting. Love that for him. I don't understand taking Ken Johnson. I mean, I do understand taking Ken Johnson out. I am a little worried. I don't think this is going to affect him the same way, like the up and down and the healthy scratches and whatnot affected Cole Sillinger last season, because I think Ken Johnson has just endless confidence. Like, I don't know that you can shake this kid's confidence, but after having such a good rookie season, and then to see him, he scored against Minnesota, I believe. He scored against Minnesota or Calgary. I don't remember which one. And he looked dangerous against Anaheim. I thought he had a good game. The eye test and the numbers are kind of disagreeing with me a little bit there, but I don't have a problem with how Ken Johnson is playing right now, and it's frustrating that he seems to have become the whipping boy a little bit, because to my mind he should be in the top 6, and I wonder if that's it. I wonder if he's playing third line minutes, he's not getting all the ice time. It's affecting his game a little because he's not playing a top 6 style. I don't necessarily buy into the fact that, like, your fourth line is your grinding checking line, and your third line is, kind of a mix of scoring and checking, and then your top 2 lines are for scoring, especially because I think this team is built for scoring over grinding. But I wonder if playing, like, third line minutes is kind of, there's something going on there in terms of, like, he's not playing the game that he should be playing. So I guess maybe healthy scratch him, put him back in on Saturday, I think, against the Islanders. I think that's when the next game is after tonight. See what's happened, because I think he responded really well to the first healthy scratch, but I don't know how sustainable it is, like, healthy scratching him every kind of 4 or 5 games, going sit in the press box and learn, come back into the lineup for 5 or 6 games, and then just rinse and repeat. That seems like a bad way to do things. So not thrilled about the Ken Johnson scratch. I am excited for Dmitri Voronkov to make his NHL debut. Talking a little bit to friend of the show, Monsters reporter Dean Weinheimer. She says he hasn't put the points on the board for the Monsters, but he's looked really good. He's looked like he started to adjust. And he did, I think, a bunch of, like, fitness skating and stuff yesterday. Basically to just kind of see what his fitness levels are like. Can he keep up in the NHL? And I guess the answer is yes. So we're going to see Dmitri Voronkov's debut tonight, which is going to be really fun. We're going to talk about the Habs in a little bit, but I do think that he is going to try and fight Arber Xhekaj, which I think is going to be fun for literally everyone. Like, I think everyone's going to enjoy that. I think Xhekaj is going to enjoy it. I think Voronkov's going to enjoy it. I think that will be fun. So that's kind of the update on lines. There's been a couple of, like, shifting lines. Let me see if I can pull them up right now, because they are not the same. They've changed them up, which I get that. It's fine. So they've put Gaudreau, Jenner, Roslovic, and then Texier, Fantilli, Bemstrom, Marchenko, Sillinger, Danforth on the third line, and then Voronkov, Corrali, Olivier on the fourth line. I don't understand. Roslovic on the top line makes no sense to me. Splitting up the Gaudreau, Jenner, Marchenko line makes no sense to me. Bemstrom in the top 6 makes no sense to me. I think Fantilli, Texier, Johnson would be a lot of fun. I like Gaudreau, Jenner, Marchenko, and then put Laine back in that top 6 when he gets back. And then I think either Johnson or Texier going down to the third line. I think Texier, Sillinger, Danforth could be fun. I think KJ, Sillinger, Danforth could be fun. And then Voronkov, Corrali, Olivier as a fourth line, I'm fine with. It feels a little bit like we've got 2 guys doing the same job, but it is what it is. Defense pairings, I think, are probably pretty similar. I think it wasn't the worst I've ever seen the defense play. I thought Ivan Provorov could have had a better game. He was only okay, I think. Again, good on the power play, but at 5v5, I think he really suffered. And then Werenski had an uncharacteristically poor game. He was only at 50%. Branson, suspiciously good game at even strength. David Jiricek. Oh, that's the other thing. David Jiricek only played like 8 minutes of game because I assume because of all the special teams. They had 1 million power plays, and I don't think he's on either power play unit. He kills some penalties, but not a lot. So he actually only played like 8 minutes. He was good in those 8 minutes. 11 Corsi 4, excuse me. That's not the right one. 12 Corsi 4 and 9 against. So like over 50%, which I will take that for, a 19-year-old. Would like to see him get a little bit more time, which if they can manage to stay at even strength, then probably that is what will happen. In a minute, we are going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Canadiens, who are having the kind of injury luck that the Blue Jackets had last year. So there's going to be some missing pieces in their lineup, and hopefully the Blue Jackets can take advantage of that. So that's what we'll do in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, though, I've got to tell you guys about Sleeper, because if you want to win 100 times your money, you have to play Daily Fantasy Hockey on the Sleeper app. It's the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network, and they are our top choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. With Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash, like I said, in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you need to do is pick more or less on stats like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, even more. So if you think that Marchenko is going to get more or less than 5 shots a game, you pick that. If you're right, you're going to get 100 times your money back. So start paying attention, get your picks right so you could win big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That is LOCKEDON NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Let's talk about the Canadiens here on Locked On Blue Jackets. It's the first time these two teams are going to be meeting each other, and the Canadiens have already had a fair amount of bad injury luck. I believe Kirby Dach out for the season with a torn ACL and MCL, which woof, that is extremely, extremely rough. They're carrying 3 goalies at the minute. Because they might as well. David Savard is going to be out, I think, semi long term. They've got guys going all over. Like they're only missing those 2 dudes at the minute, I think. But it's looking real rough out there for the Canadiens. The good news is Cole Caulfield is doing Cole Caulfield things. He's got 6 points in 6 games. Sean Monahan having a surprisingly good season, 5 points in 6 games. I really hope that he's, healthy and can stay healthy all season, because he's a guy that you really want to root for. It'll be fun to see him maybe matching up against Johnny Gaudreau. That's always fun to see old teammates team up against each other. Josh Anderson still around. Look for him to probably score a goal because he loves to have revenge games. And then the defense is... The thing about the defense is it's very young. Because David Savard is out, I think they will be running Mike Matheson and 5 rookies or guys that were rookies last year: Kovacevic, Harris, Jacky, Gugli, and Barron, which is not great. So maybe the Blue Jackets can kind of take advantage of that. That would be nice. I am definitely taking the over on this game. I don't know who's going to start for the Blue Jackets. I assume Elvis will probably start for the Blue Jackets. I assume Jake Allen will start for the Canadiens. I'm not sure what his workload has been like. Currently, he's looking extremely good in that he's allowed 8 goals on 112 shots, which that's so many shots. That's over 40 shots a game on average. So like he's out there doing a whole lot. He's been their best goalie so far, so he's got 2 wins and an overtime loss. I would expect them to start him unless they have a bigger opponent starting the next game. In terms of the Blue Jackets, like I said, Elvis Merzlikins is still looking pretty good. 10 goals on 115 shots over the last 4 games, so absolutely no problems with Elvis. Spencer Martin has allowed 7 goals on 82 shots, so like he had a bad first game and then fully made up for it the second game with that win over Calgary. So like he's doing okay right now. Pretty happy with the goaltending. Pretty happy in general with how the Blue Jackets have been playing. I still think I'm not worried yet I am starting to get a little apprehensive about Gaudreau and Marchenko not producing, and I can't figure out what's up. I wonder, Johnny just doesn't look quite right out there on the ice, and I can't figure out what it is. Marchenko, I think, is really fighting through it. He's having a little bit of a sophomore slump, I think. It's still early. They're both at half a point per game. They've got 3 assists each, but it would be really nice to get at least one of those guys on the board against Montreal. Like I said, Kent Johnson going to be a healthy scratch, which I disagree with, but understand where the logic is coming from. It'd be really nice to see Texier get a point as well. He's the only forward, apart from Voronkov, obviously, who doesn't have a point yet. In 6 games, he's had some looks. He's had 9 shots over those 6 games, so like it's not like he's doing nothing. But I would like to see Texier get on the board, especially if he's going to keep being rewarded with top 6 minutes. So I think he's got maybe 2 more games. If he's not scoring, then it might be time to demote him a little bit. I don't have Hayden's predictions, but I'm going to make my predictions, and then we'll tweet Hayden's out probably just before the game. I'm going to go with a 4-3 Blue Jackets win, just because the Canadiens are so injured. But I think Cole Caulfield is going to do some Cole Caulfield things. Probably put at least a couple past Elvis. In terms of goal scoring, you know what? I'm going to go with Adam Fantilli. Scored his 2nd goal in 2 games yesterday, had his first multi-point game. He's sitting at 4 points on the season in 6 games, and he's on a little bit of a streak right now. So I'm putting my money on Fantilli scoring to open the scoring for the Blue Jackets. That is my final prediction. Like I said, I will get Hayden's prediction later on when he's not golfing. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun game. We're going to be talking to Locked On Canadiens after the game to kind of break down the game from both sides. It's always fun to talk to those guys. So that's going to be tomorrow's plan. And this is all I've got for today. Tomorrow, like I said, breaking down the game tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And then later on this week, we've got a special guest. We're going to be talking to Dylan Tyre about prospect, about the Blue Jacket start to the season, about what he's excited about. So if you have questions for Dylan, drop them in the comments, or you can at me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can at Hayden on Twitter, or X, I guess, as we are calling it now on our little lower third overlay things here. Hayden H971. He will also take your questions. You can at the Blue Jackets, the Locked On Blue Jackets Twitter, LO_Blue Jackets. Or you can email us at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com, or drop it in the comments below this video. All are acceptable. Just mark it that it's a question for Dylan, so we know to keep it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day every day. Locked On Blue Jackets continues to be free and available on all podcast platforms. We are over on YouTube, and we're on Sirius XM. So if you listen on any of those platforms, thank you. If you don't listen on any of those platforms, then feel free to do so. Hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, let us know what you think. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.